Welcome into the Sun Devil Source postgame show. Ethan Ryder alongside Chris Cartman following ASU's 20-13 loss in the Las Vegas Bowl, finishing up their season at an 8-5 record. Chris, what were your initial takeaways from this one?
Looked like it might get away from the Sun Devils early on, right, Ethan? Jaden Daniels intercepted. Wisconsin goes down and scores. By halftime, it's 20-6. Sun Devils responded really effectively in the second half, especially on defense. A gutsy performance against that potent run game by the Badgers. I thought some guys stepped up with DJ Davidson, Darian Butler out of the game. But Wisconsin converted a 3rd and 13 or whatever it was, and then was able to run the clock out on its final possession. Missed opportunities by ASU in the passing game, which really has been a consistent theme throughout the whole season.
And you talk about that, it was a really kind of a struggle of a start for ASU. As you said, they go 26 in the locker room, but right off the bat, Jaden Daniels intercepted. There were a couple guys, new guys on the offensive line that they had to throw in there, and there wasn't great protection to start off the game. What did you see at the beginning that kind of caused that fluster in Wisconsin being able to start off strong?
Well, you touched on it when Donovan West is not playing at center, and then, of course, at right guard, Henry Haddis being out. The ASU was forced to reconfigure, throw in Jarrett Bell at center. Hasn't played there starting in any kind of a significant role the whole season. Over on the right guard, they had Spencer Lovell. And even Ben Scott, I think, in this game really struggled at the right tackle position, caused a lot of problems for ASU. It was one of these things where there were open guys downfield, but Daniels either didn't see it or he was under too much duress too quickly to be able to really get the ball where he needed to go with it. What we really saw was he was running for his life. He scrambled for several first downs in the first half alone of ASU's 7. Missed some opportunities in the passing game. They either didn't throw the ball to some places where they had open receivers, or they were some just missed connections. The long one to Badger that was overthrown, that was a big missed opportunity. They really had to throw the ball more than they probably even wanted in this game, or at least drop back to try to throw the ball. The run game with those two offensive linemen out, of course, Rashad White didn't play, Diamante Traynor transferring to Ohio State. That was a big problem. They didn't have the type of run potency that they would have liked, and I think that they realized they're going to have to try to hit on some big plays and just didn't get enough of them.
Yeah, and it was kind of a tale of two halves. I mean, 20-6 at half into 2013. What did you see that allowed it to switch around for ASU to be a little bit more successful in the second half?
Yeah, so I think Wisconsin went a little bit away from its bread and butter of pounding the ball vertically, but ASU also did a good job of responding in the second half. It seemed like there was one Wisconsin 3-and-out after another, or at least short possession, that ASU got some momentum going. BJ Green had a couple of sacks. That freshman had 5 sacks, I think, for the season, which was maybe as many as anyone on the ASU defense, which is quite remarkable for a walk-on. Omar Norman-Lott was in the backfield making some plays. They threw some other guys out there with DJ Davidson not playing, offensive switches. Armand Bethea was out there. Sione Vicoso had a cup of coffee up playing on defense there. You got to give it to those guys. That was gutsy performance. And I think ASU's linebackers overall did a very good job. Kyle Soley got banged up. He was gutting it out. We saw Merlin Robertson and several others kind of play decently well. Gentry was out there quite a bit. He was replaced by the younger Soley. So you had both Kyle and Connor Soley playing together extensively. And ASU's defense did everything it needed to do except for get a third down stop, I think, in that second half. But you can't really blame their defense for what happened in this game.
And speaking just about this game, we'll get kind of as a holistic view after. But in this game, Jaden Daniels said it kind of fell short, but we went out and gave it our best. Is that a good representation of what we saw?
I think so. They had 9 players who were either starters or critical backups that didn't play in this game. That's a lot. ASU's not that deep of a team to be able to absorb that in most situations. 5 key offensive players when you also throw in Johnny Wilson transferring, and probably equivalently as many on the defensive side. Chase Lucas, Darian Butler, Jack Jones, DJ Davidson, right? Evan Fields got hurt in this game, tried to give it a go. He's had such bad luck, wasn't really able to be out there for the most part. So yeah, and it looked like, as I said earlier, that they were about to get blown out of the game. I don't think anybody really watching the first half thought, okay, ASU is going to have a chance deep into the fourth quarter and only lose by a touchdown, and really maybe a one play here or there sort of a difference. Um, ASU drove down and then went backwards on those two plays on that key drive that it had once it got very near scoring territory, just inside the 40 maybe. Then they had the trick play that where Daniels was going to do a double fake handoff and then carry the ball, went for a loss. Then the very next play, he gets sacked for a big loss, I think it was, and they ended up having to punt. And I think that was another key sequence.
Yeah, and now kind of as a holistic view, finish 8-5 with this game. Now that the season is finished, what did we see from this season as a whole?
Well, it's not a season that reflects what ASU's hoped to accomplish. I would say that this is a C- if I was going to give it a grade at its best. And people might think that's a little bit harsh, given that they were 6-3 in the Pac-12. But everything was really set up on a table for them. We've talked about it a lot, Son of a Source, and even in our post-game shows throughout the year. The schedule was perfect. They were as experienced as any team in the conference, and I think probably as talented as any team in the South when you really look at it. For all of those things to be the case, and then the bad losses, BYU, Washington State, they really stand out, struggling in the second half mightily in a 28-0 run by Utah in the key game of the season. This was on the low end of the average expectation for ASU this year, and it's something that ASU fans, I'm sure, will very long remember as ultimately a disappointment despite it being an 8-win season.
Yeah, so ASU lose 20-13 in Las Vegas to Wisconsin. While their season is finished, of course, our content is not, so make sure to stay tuned. The basketball season underway and recruiting right around the corner. But for now, that's Chris Cartman. I'm Ethan Ryder, and that was a Sun Devil Source postgame show.